For the last few months on this channel, Audi keep giving me fast Audis that just happen to be powered by electric motors. And this one is no different. It's the e-tron S. The S means it's a full second quicker to 60, barely 4 seconds. It's got 717 pounds per foot of torque. And on boost mode, 500 brake horsepower, but as standard, 430 brake horsepower. It's got a 95 kilowatt hour battery, 86 of that is usable. It'll get you somewhere around 300 kilometers. And that's one of the problems with this car, because when you're spending almost 120,000 euro on a car, you probably wanted to go a little bit further than 300 kilometers. You can charge it at home, of course, as well. It'll take somewhere between 9 and sort of 15 hours, depending on how much you've got left in the battery. But, you know, who's counting? The S also sits on these gigantic 21-inch alloy wheels. You get an S badge on the front, so everyone knows it's a bit special. These super bright daytime running lights, LED matrix headlights. They look gorgeous. They're meant to be claw swipes here on the side of the car. And then when you come around to the side, you've got the flared arches. You've got the nice black on the B-pillars. A little bit going on over the C. Black inserts along the sill here on the car. So when you look at it, you kind of go, wow, that looks pretty beasty. And it is. I mean, it's super fast, certainly in a straight line. Going around bends, well, we'll get to that in a little bit from now. Let's check out the boot first though, because not only can it carry, well, a family of 4 very, very comfortably, but it also has a massively usable boot and a frunk. We got a 605 litre boot. It is electrically operated, thankfully, because there's a few things this car doesn't have that I think it should have for the price. So there's loads of load room. Lip is not too high. Bit of storage down here as well to hide things away. You get releases for the rear bench. I love the white LED strips in the back and a boot cover that securely tucks away inside, but is also flexible, so you can, you know, bend that around things if you're trying to shove bikes and buggies and all that family stuff in there. There's 12-volt chargers. It's a decently equipped boot. No real complaints there. And yeah, I wouldn't want to be closing that all day long, so whatever you do, make sure you have the electric option on it. And this red strip stays on when your main lights are on at night time. Also, you can force it to come on if you turn off the daytime running lights, and it kind of looks cool. The colour is Navara blue, normally reserved for petrol and, in the past, diesel, S and RS models. And why shouldn't an electric one that can go as fast as this not get the colour as well? The doors are so reassuringly solid and clunky, and when you close them, like, here's something though. There's no aircon climate control in the back. You do get 2 vents that you can keep people cool with, so that's all right. There's 2 USB-C charging ports and a 12-volt. That's all good. This is a decent armrest, and it pops up here, and there's a little tray area. But and it feels like this should open, and maybe I'm just really stupid, but I don't think you can get it here for drinks. What's that about? They have thrown in the nets on the back of the seats, and the leg room is really generous. That climate thing would really just put the icing on the cake of a sublime interior in the back, somewhere that all passengers are going to feel very, very comfortable in. These S-line bucket seats, not too restrictive of the view, doesn't give you a claustrophobic vibe in the back. Head height, there's tons of it, so it's all, you know, top marks for that. I'm only really nitpicking about the climate in the back. So let's jump into the front and we'll have a little look around, and I'll tell you a few more things that the car doesn't have that I really probably should. Well, it's got good child locks as well, and you can release them from the driver's panel, because I can't get out. This is awkward. Oh, and if your rear passengers like to open their windows, they will go down that far. They're nearly half closed. It is a seriously striking bus though, isn't it? Leave your comments below and let us know what are you thinking about the size, but I know it can be hard to pull off such a huge vehicle. Size-wise, you'd easily compare it, not height-wise to an X5, but it certainly feels a little long. It's that kind of space, and it is a huge, big beast of a thing. There's little grooves in the doors here for keyless, but this car doesn't have keyless entry. And that wrecks my head, because every time the boot, you double tap the key and it pops open, that's fine. And then just out of habit, or maybe just expectation, when you look at it and you expect it to just hold that and go click, but no, you're reaching in for your key every single time. Those mirrors, they're nice and black housed. There's no blind spot in there either. And there's no cross traffic monitoring. 117 grand. Again, massive tud. The memory seats will slot you into position. And when you put the seatbelts on, when you click them in, there's an extra little bit of tension on it. And all that stuff is very, very impressive. When people jump into the car for the first time, there's no doubt it would kind of make you think you're in something a bit fancy. All of Audi's touchscreens are here, covered in smudges, but they're here, very easy to use. There aren't physical buttons, but everything is where you need it to be, and they're haptic buttons. Some people have an issue with them, the majority of people don't. You're never kind of going, oh, how do I get to that screen? It's always there. Loads of storage down here, wireless charging, 2 USB-Cs back here, an armrest that does slide. I love that about Audis. It's like, it seems small, but it's a welcome feature. Nice little extenders on the back of your seats, S-line, quilted material across the leather. Like, it is just beautiful. Like so many Audis, I've said it so many times, they are making the best interiors. There is no one else doing electric cars who can touch what they're doing right now. It's just impossible. What they have managed to achieve with their electric vehicles, particularly at this level of them, is just make you feel like you're in a petrol high performance Audi, because the interior is absolutely savage. You can set up all your charging, time it, all that kind of stuff. The nav is brilliant. You'll get red lines once it's paired up with your phone, and it can work out, is there a long queue on a motorway, for example. It'll divert you around and you can see where the delays are, the satellite view. It's seriously premium. No glass roof in this car. It's probably heavy enough, to be honest with you. You're touching 2.7 tons before you add a single human to the car. So it is heavy. Quick mention to support us on the channel if you can at all, whether that's through a Patreon subscription, talking about €5 a month. Also, you can tip us on PayPal. You can like, share, subscribe to the channel, comment on the videos. It all helps, and it is a fully independent YouTube channel, so any help you can do is greatly appreciated. It's so quiet, you know, you'll hear that fake engine noise to warn pedestrians, and it does kind of intrude into the cabin a bit. But I've often under a bridge or something heard the noise of this car whooshing by other cars, and it's that ferocious as it goes by. As I mentioned earlier on, 429 brake horsepower is what you have on tap, and then if you floor it, you'll get boost mode, which is 500 brake horsepower, and that's 717 pounds per foot of torque. As you come into bends, you can feel the weight of the car sort of twist and kind of like slightly unsettled. So the way they've done the etron S motor is it's on the front and back axles, and it's dual motored, and obviously it's quattro, so you've always got tons of grip. Like, it's so planted when you floor it. But I suppose for a true Audi with an S or an RS badge, the weight just shoves around a little bit, and it kind of makes you just question physics at times. It's like, as I take a bend wide there, and it slightly oversteers, and then you feel the car just pull itself back in to try and correct, and you've got a bit of lane assist going on and stuff like that, so you can turn that off, but that would help. Consumption wise, it's about 30 kilowatt hours per 100 kilometer, and as you can tell there with the usable battery, that isn't probably even 300 kilometers from a full charge, and that's where for some it's just going to be like, what? But I suppose you do have to factor in how quick it is. Now, yes, the Tesla models will still push out, very, very quick results. So, look, if you're after efficiency, e-tron, particularly this model of e-tron, perhaps just isn't for you. But if it's build quality and an Audi badge and all that goes with that, then it certainly will be. When you do plant it, it really does stick you into the back of your seat. And I've found that actually if you accelerate really hard and then take your foot off the throttle, the weight of the vehicle will keep you going for quite a long time, and you don't need to accelerate and you can just coast. So that's one of the benefits, I suppose, of the fact that it weighs so much. I'd imagine it will embarrass something like an RS6 in a straight line. You do have the benefit with a lot of the Audis as well, e-tron models, of using things like Ionity chargers, and obviously it's not going to fill it, but if you plugged one of these in for 10 minutes at an Ionity charger, you'd be well into triple digits in adding range to your battery. So kind of the best of both worlds. Charging it at home, you can just trickle it on something like a 7 kilowatt charger. It'll display on the screen. It kind of does 6.9 or so. That's probably the way most people are going to charge a vehicle like this, because using Ionity, filling up, if you were to an 86 usable kilowatt hour battery, that is not going to be cheap. So we're into dynamic mode now, and I'm going to attempt some launch control action. So flooring it. Yeah, that's quick. That's quick. There's not even a hint of tire squeal or wheel spin. It just goes. Another thing that I can't understand is, for the price of the car, there's rubber pedals. So if you get an S-Line A3, you will get aluminium pedals, which look cool. But for this car, 120 grand, they're rubber. The steering of the car also, if you're looking for huge levels of feedback and you know exactly where the car is pointing, well, it's not really going to do that for you. As an electric car, is it worthy of an S badge? I think it is. But if you can kind of bear with me, as an Audi with an S badge, it just has an awful lot to live up to. And I've driven RS5s and RS7s, and it's just, when you're so involved in the noise of the engine and all that stuff, there's no doubt there should be Audis that bear these badges down the road, whether that's fully electric. They shouldn't drop them. And I don't know if you'll ever be able to truly make an electric car as involved, as exciting, and as full on as something like an RS7. Do we need to lower our expectations as to what an S and RS badge used to stand for? Because those cars will properly go around corners. And this one is not bad at all, but it is very, very heavy. So to recap on it, cons are definitely going to be range for some people, although you get a fast petrol Audi and you'll quickly see the kilometers reduce also. So I don't know, like, is it a like for like comparison? Probably not directly, but it's not too bad. It is heavy, it is expensive, but it really is the creme de la creme of interiors, of design. It does look good. If you like big cars, you are going to love it. It's very striking, probably even more so in real life than in the video. It is a lot of money. Yes, you can buy a Tesla for less with more range. Does not have that interior, don't care what you say. Does not have an Audi badge, don't care what you say. You're going to have to think about it. You'd buy a Porsche Taycan for the same price. So there's lots of things to weigh up. But at least they're doing it. At least Audi have given us these vehicles well ahead of Volkswagen, BMW. They are setting the bar in many ways. Okay, it's not the most efficient car in the world. Is it going to be at that weight? But it is pretty gorgeous all the same. And if someone was giving it to you for nothing, you wouldn't say no. Thanks for watching.